And hello everyone, welcome back to Retro Direction. This is Michael, and here is my review slash showcase, but mainly review of Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown. This is the PS4 version, but I'm playing it on a PS5. And for those of you that have a PS4 and you subscribe to PSN, the actual standalone game to download is completely free. Anyway, on with the show. Now, first of all, this particular review is aimed mainly at the newcomers to the genre. So if you're a youngster and you've been playing the likes of Tekken or the Dead or Alive franchise and you're curious about Virtua Fighter, well, there's a lot to tell you. So rather than me blab about it for the next half an hour or so, I would look it up on Google or Wikipedia, and it'll tell you everything you need to know about Virtua Fighter. I'll just touch on a few things. Released back in 1994 in the arcades, Virtua Fighter was, I think, the first 3D fighting game ever. In total, it had about just over 700 or so moves. The characters weren't like they are now, fully texture mapped and beautiful. They were raw polygon. They had no texture maps, just like Virtua Racing. But it was innovative. It was a brand new thing back then when 3D was starting to emerge from these powerful consoles. So we had the likes of Virtua Fighter, and on the PlayStation, of course, we had Tekken. But the Sega Saturn sold a lot because of the original game, and especially when the sequel came out a year or so later. That's when Virtua Fighter cemented itself as the 3D fighting game, and it was here to stay, and it still is. So, because the game's free, provided you've got PSN, I say give it a shot, because you'll either like it or you won't. Now, of course, like with everything, whether it's video games, movies, food and drink, you're not going to like absolutely everything. The thing with Virtua Fighter, it's very, very technical, and it's very, very deep, yet it's very accessible because you've only got 3 buttons to play with. You have block, punch or kick. And if you're a newcomer to the genre, you'll find yourself pulling off some very impressive special moves and combinations without knowing any of the character's repertoire of moves. But if you choose to pick a character you like and master him or her, it'll take you months, years to actually master that one fighter. And that's no joke. So the game's accessible, yes. Easy to pick up and play, definitely. Very, very fun, and it's fun learning the different moves. And the big question, is it better than Tekken or Dead or Alive? Well, if you've visited my channel for the first time, there's a review of Virtua Fighter, which I do touch on that difference, on that rivalry. Now, this review isn't my personal opinion or just me liking this one personally. It's because when they were first released, I played both games till they came out of my ears. And I can safely say that Virtua Fighter is the better of the two. Simply because it's so technical, it's so deep, and I mean unbelievably deep. I mean, the second game itself had more than 2,000 moves and techniques. And that was just Virtua Fighter 2. Now we're on number 5, Ultimate Showdown. There are thousands of moves and techniques to actually learn. But it's never tedious, it's fun. Because you think, how did I do that? And the other reason it's better than other fighting games is because each character employs a real-life martial art. They're real fighting styles. If you pick up and play Tekken, it's fun. But the thing with Tekken, every character handles pretty much the same, because it uses a generic fighting engine where you got the odd move here and there that comes from a real fighting style, but the characters handle the same. But Virtua Fighter, everyone you pick is going to handle completely differently, and you're bound to find one you love. We have everything here from Jeet Kune Do, which is what these two guys are practicing. They're the same person, by the way. I'm fighting myself here. And you know Jeet Kune Do was founded by the legendary martial artist Bruce Lee. But then we have things like wrestling, we have pankration, which is an ancient Greek or Roman martial art. You have praying mantis kung fu. We even have a sumo wrestler. So there's a lot to sink your teeth into, and there's a lot to enjoy. Now, for those of you that have the last installment of this, it was Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown. For those of you that have a PS3 or an Xbox 360, you'll know what I mean. Ultimate Showdown is the latest one, and for those of you that have the last one, you'll see that there's a very big improvement in graphics here. The characters are improved, their facial animations, the detail on their clothing, the stages, everything's crisp, high resolution and beautiful.
Let's see if you can rock the rock. Round one. Ready, go!
So the standalone game is free to download, so that's what I'd go for if you're trying it for the first time. For those of you that are veterans, that you've played it and you were in your early 20s back in the 90s like me, I'm now 54, still enjoy this. You'll pick up the DLC, which is $7.99. I think it's just shy of $10 in the US. But for those of you that are real fans, pick up the DLC. It's got more than 2,000 customizable items of clothing, hairstyles, pairs of glasses, so on and so forth. And not only that, you can select the original non-texture mapped versions, so the characters you're using look like the original game. You have one stage from the original Virtua Fighter to play on, and you have all the music from all of the Virtua Fighters, even the unreleased ones. So you've got about 180 different tunes. So they take me back when I play this, and they'll take you back as well. For those of you that love the old tunes, you know what I'm talking about. Among my favourites we have Dural's theme from Virtua Fighter 1. I love Pai's theme. I like Leon's theme from Virtua Fighter 2. I like Akida's theme. Incidentally, the remixed versions on the Saturn I like. So newcomers, go for it. Give it a shot. It's free if you're a PSN subscriber. And for the rest of you, Virtua Fighter is the best one you'll ever play. It's clear you'll either like it or you won't. I mean, it's the same with everything. Video games, movies, food, drink. You like things and you don't like others. But if you like fighting games, you can't go wrong with this one. And yes, I am enthusiastic about it because I did not expect it to be released. It was announced. I just happened to see it on the internet, on one of my favourite sites, GameSpot, and then a few days after it was released. Oh! And as you can see, it's so much fun to play. It's very fast-paced, frenetic and just beautiful. Plays like a dream. I'd say Virtua Fighter is here. It's here to appeal to a new audience. And you know what? If it does, the more newcomers it appeals to, the more chance we'll have of getting Virtua Fighter 6. So give it a shot. Newcomers, you'll love it. This is Michael. Thanks for tuning in to Retro Direction. And I'm going to go kick some more ass. Ciao, ciao.